Hey everybody, welcome to Still City Phantom. As Dawn and Justin break down Ashoka, the Disney Plus series. This is a special little one-off podcast that only we are doing because the other two can't be bothered to watch this show. Because Brock has too many kids and babies and stuff, can't watch it. But he watches other stuff. I think he's pulling the wool. He watched all 10 episodes of the Power Rangers, but can't watch this show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I that one I get. He just kind of binged that all in one night with his unsleeping son.
He did. Ken, he's just an idiot, and we'll get Disney Plus. So.
Well, yeah, he got rid of Disney Plus.
So we moved on without them. We're moving on. The more we move on, it's more Dawn and Justin stuff because we sit around and watch all that shit. But it's fitting because you and I were both Rebels fans.
Yes.
We love Rebels. I mean, Rebels to me is a lot of people laugh when I say this, but it might be my favorite Star Wars piece of fiction. Like, I like it a lot. Like, I like it. I like Clone Wars. I like it a lot. I almost enjoyed it more than I enjoyed the films, but I don't know. The films are different, you know.
Yeah, it's different class. From outside of the films, it is my favorite of the series of the stuff.
I mean, I definitely like it better than any of the new movies they did.
Oh yeah,
and I definitely like it better than most of the live action like TV series stuff. It's good. Rebels is good. It was, I don't know. I think I watched it at the right time. I didn't watch it when it was currently out. I watched it years later and just loved it. Just enjoyed it. I was in the moment.
Oh, and it was easier to binge watch that way.
Yeah. It's really good.
I didn't watch the first couple seasons when they were on, but then I finally started. I can't remember which season it was, but it might only been the final season because there were only 3 seasons of that, weren't there?
Something like that. And it was out a long time ago, right? Wasn't it like over 10 years ago now?
Yeah. Well, I think there was a gap. But yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, we're not informed people. We don't get informed about things.
There's so much shit to watch.
There is. There's
so
a lot
much
of stuff.
So much else to go on. I remember watching it. I remember it being one of my favorite, pieces of Star Wars.
It's really good. So when the show ended and it kind of showed you Ahsoka and Sabine going out to find Ezra and everything, they never did anything with it. So when Ahsoka rolled around and showed up in the first season or second season of The Mandalorian,
I think it was the second season. Shit, we should have looked all this stuff up before we started.
Who cares? Like, we're ever like professional on this show. Anyway, her first episode she showed up. It was the episode where she was going against Morgan Elizabeth.
Yes.
Where Morgan Elizabeth has that one town that she's kind of keeping under her wraps. She has that piece of Beskar,
the Beskar
into that spear. And when Ahsoka takes her down, that's when she mentions that she's trying to find Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yes.
So that's your first little insight that they might be doing more with him. And then eventually it was announced that Ahsoka was getting her own show a few years ago. We were a few years out. We started seeing hints of what it was going to be like. So we were both pretty excited to watch this show.
Yeah.
I would say.
Oh, definitely. She's up there in my favorite characters. I love Ahsoka.
Yeah, I like her too. I mean, honestly, when I first watched the Clone Wars movie, I was a little annoyed with the little girl and
the young
Sky
Ahsoka
Guy and Snips and all that. But when you really get into and you watch I obviously watched Clone Wars before I watched Rebels, and her growth through the show is amazing.
Yeah. She
starts off at this little character. You're like, oh, why do they have to give him this little girl sidekick? But she turns into, a good ally, a good friend. And when they eventually came back and did the last season of Clone Wars years after Rebels, which was really deep, showing what she went through with Captain Rex and how they ran from the Jedi, from the rebellion, or not the rebellion, the Empire, and everything that they went through after Order 66. It was pretty good. It really showed you how messed up she was left, and
yeah.
So then watching,
she got a raw deal.
She did. Yeah, it was very rough, and I don't know. She really stood out in Rebels as such a good leader, such a strong character. So, and Rosario Dawson, I think, does a great job as her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's, other than the voice actress from from Clone Wars and Rebels, Rosario Dawson was my number one choice when they first even hinted that they were going to do live action Ahsoka.
Right, right. So, this show, when it first opened up and I first watched the first couple episodes, we were both kind of bothered with the fact that, Sabine Wren for me was a character that, like, she trained on how to use the Darksaber under Kanan Jarrus.
Yes.
She was all about her Mandalorian, like, pride and Mandalore and all that, dressed like a Mandalorian. I guess there was, which I don't think it's ever shown anywhere, once the Empire takes over, they wipe out Mandalore.
Yeah, I don't
Fall of Mandalore. I don't know if I've ever seen that done anywhere.
I don't believe that's on that's been done yet. And I say yet because now that they've specifically talked about it, I'm sure we'll get something.
Yeah, some show will tie into it or an animated series somewhere.
But yeah, no, I don't think that's ever been shown. But yeah, that happened like in between the time of when Ezra at the end of Rebels and where her show picks up.
Yeah. Yeah. So they go into this that she was Ahsoka's apprentice, which I'm not sure I liked it at first. They really pegged Sabine in these first couple episodes where Sabine was pretty badass at the end of Rebels.
Yeah.
She was a tough warrior. When you first see her years later, if you don't watch it live, I was like, who's this Mandalorian that has like spray paint on their helmet and all this? It was like, this is colored hair. Like this is not what I like, but she's a great character throughout the whole series. And then wielding the Darksaber, all the fighting she does, and how devastated she was when she lost Ezra.
Yeah.
And her determination to go find him. Not in a love interest way ever, more like an older brother kind of way.
Yeah, and it's weird because it was really hard. Like it kind of seemed like a couple times where the tone shifted.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get down towards that end. But yeah, I get what you mean. So like, I didn't like how they portrayed her in episode 1 and 2. She seemed like this bratty young girl that was like refusing to do anything they asked her. Like she didn't. Her and Ahsoka arguing. I was like, this is annoying. I was really annoyed for the first couple episodes of this show, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, I won't go as far as to say as I was annoyed, but I was worried that it was going to be, as the kids say, mid.
Yes.
I was worried that it was just going to be mediocre, and I'm glad that it turned itself around.
Yes. So it was cool to see Hera, and you see that she's older. She's a general. Chopper looks great, of course.
Chopper was one of the best parts of the show.
Yes, Chopper. I like the way they did Chopper. I actually like that you could understand almost a little bit of English coming out of there, which some people didn't like.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Chopper to me never really spoke full on droid.
Yeah. It was there was always a hint of, okay, I know what he's saying.
Yeah, he's pissed off. He's angry. He was really good. I like that. They introduce these villains, which of course we already mentioned. Morgan Elizabeth.
Yes, from Mandalorian, and that was season 2.
Yeah, whose main goal is to find Thrawn.
Yes.
With her, she had Baylan Skoll, played by the late great Ray Stevenson, may God rest his soul, who passed away while filming this, or at the end of this, which was awful. Yeah. So I didn't like these people at first. So you had Baylan Skoll, and then you had Sheen Hati, his apprentice. They were sort of like Jedi that escaped Order 66, came like they were like these like dark
Mercenaries.
Jedi mercenaries. They have orange lightsabers. I was very with these two when I first met them.
Yeah.
You know, the girl I'm still even at the end, but Balin, I will talk about him later. He looks cool. He looked like just a bigger, maybe younger version of Count Dooku. He had that Count Dooku beard, that pointy beard. And I'm just kind of like, here's another lightsaber dude and another lightsaber girl who look like Billie Eilish to me almost. I didn't really get the angsty. I didn't need an angsty teenager dark Jedi girl.
I fully admit I am a complete lightsaber Jedi mark though. So
you when you see lightsabers you get a happy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. And now we got orange ones because we got to sell more toys. So you can get. I don't know where you get orange ones from. That's the thing that frustrates me with that. It's like Star Wars back in the day. It was like you had a red one and then you had blue and green. Like that was it. That was what most crystals found. Then they were like, well, Mace Windu has a purple one, and I'm like, well, why? Where'd they get a purple one from? He just found the one purple one, And then they would do things like some characters had pink, and I'm like, where'd you get a pink one from? Yoda had a yellow. I'm like, can anyone get these, or why is it most people just get fucking blue and green? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just it's something different.
It's supposed to be a reflection of your inner force.
Okay, so Mace Windu's inner force is purple.
Yeah,
because he really likes grapes or something like that. I don't know, like really weird. So I thought, like, where'd they find orange now? Orange means you're kind of like Ahsoka then has white because she's not like a Jedi anymore.
Yeah.
In the middle, she has white. It gets to be a little much to me at sometimes. Like stick with it. Like, where'd you get these orange crystals? Hey, we're dark Jedi, so we don't have red. We got dark orange. Like, it looks like fucking red to me. Like, that bothered me. So, first two episodes, I was not really feeling this show as much. Yes, it was nice to see Hera, the girl who plays her, Ben Kenobi's wife in real life.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead looked phenomenal as Hera in a lot of other ways too, but we'll keep this podcast clean. But she is good. I liked her. She had the look for her. I really felt the heart from her. I liked her a lot.
Yeah, I mean, she looked like she was straight out of the anime.
She is what made me keep watching it, her and Chopper. I was a little disappointed that they didn't have as much of a bigger role, but hopefully they do season 2 or whatever they do moving forward. Yeah. Because they really were just kind of like side characters a lot in this.
Yeah.
It was a heavy Ahsoka Sabine kind of relationship. So yeah, I think we were both kind of in the same spot after the first 2 episodes. They steal that map from Sabine and they're going to go find Thrawn. Another problem I have in the beginning is I'm getting a little tired in new Star Wars of people getting stabbed in the stomach with lightsabers and not dying. I mean, if you remember Phantom Menace, when
there's memes about this on the internet.
Okay, so what's his name? And why can I not remember? Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon Jinn gets stabbed in the stomach and he dies instantly because, like, a lot of Star Wars people, super nerds, have broke down. When something that high heat enters your stomach like that, it basically cooks you from the inside. Like, it boils your whole intestines and your lungs and everything. And that's why Qui-Gon gets it in his stomach, makes that face, and then dies. Yeah. Like, there was no that. So in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, the lady, the other, what were they? Inquisitors.
Yeah.
What was her name? I can't remember her name. I apologize.
She was the fourth sister.
Yeah, she was the fourth sister. She gets nailed by Darth Vader with it, and she lives.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, how did she live? Vader just stabbed you through the stomach. Like, you're dead. It's a lightsaber. Like, I've seen people stick it in a door. You've seen people in Force users, Jedis, put it in a steel door and melt the door.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a
Qui-Gon Jinn
sword.
did that.
Yeah, it's not a sword that goes into your body that would leave like a cut. Like, you're done. You're
Now,
cooked.
some people say that it depends on how long the blade was inside, because if it was just quick in and out, it would cauterize the wound, and but like with Qui-Gon, he stabbed him, waited a second, and then pulled it out.
Yeah.
And and I don't remember.
Well, the Vader girl, he stabbed her pretty good and held it there, and then she like keeled over. She should have been dead. Sabine. Well, here's the thing in this part. Sabine didn't need this.
No.
They're getting carried away with this now. Where like when a lightsaber used to touch it, you were done. Like they could have just like force shot her against the wall and knocked her out, or even like cut off a hand and had to give her the old robot hand thing. Like I would have been fine if they sliced her hand off with the lightsaber in it and did the whole Luke Anakin thing. Like, that's Star Wars. People get robot hands. But when she got it in the belly, I'm like, okay, like, how's she alive? So I was super annoyed after episode 2.
Yeah.
So then the show moves on. I forget what happens in all of 3.
3 was forgettable.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Oh, that's when they started training under Ahsoka. They were chasing that ship because Hera puts a tag on it and they're chasing that ship. So they're following it. So it's a lot of them training and a lot of them not getting along, a lot of bitching and complaining, all that stuff, This then led to the big, like, they get the map and then they're being chased by the bad guys. Yes. And they have to go to that planet and hide in the woods. That part wasn't too bad. I liked the ship stuff and the chasing and the shutting the power down high in the woods. That was all right. But it led into this next part 4, which was sort of the battle in the woods. You're researching again.
No, I'm just trying to skim through this. Because I remember it's weird. Like I don't remember what episode specific things happened in, but like I remember the show.
That was really all that happened in 3. So in 3 and 4, when they crash land, they get a message out to Hera. That's when Hera's like, I can't come rescue. They don't allow. Yeah. They wouldn't allow her to take troops out. So she does it anyway, takes a raiding party. The guy from Mandalorian, the old Asian actor guy who's the X-Wing pilot. Yeah. They go out to try to help her, to try to try to find her. You find out that they're building that gigantic ring, which looks like a Jedi starfighter ring that used to make them for long trips. Yep. And it's kind of what it is. And
Same
it's able
concept, except instead of jumping within the galaxy, they're jumping to another galaxy.
Yeah, it's powerful enough to do that, because I guess you can't just regular jump to another galaxy. Like,
I guess not. That's not something I was aware of within
too
Star
far
Wars canon.
Yeah. So interesting, exploring other galaxies. But this episode 4 was all this woods battle. Like, they attacked, they're working on the ship, and then they had to make their way to like stop the bad guys from using the sphere, the little MacGuffin device that they gave. And this is a map to where you're going and all that. This you saw the one-on-one fights where first Ahsoka fought Baylan Skoll. Well, she didn't get to him yet. They were She kicked the shit out of that other guy that was with them. Remember that other guy that had a mask? Ahsoka kicked his ass, killed him.
Yeah.
And then Sabine and the girl.
By the way, that was so disappointing. The fact that it was just some dead body animated by
Dark Magic.
Morgan Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Because
he wasn't even really a real person.
No, because that was the Night Sisters. That was their magic.
It seemed like he was a guy that was reanimated like the Stormtroopers later on.
Yeah.
And then Sabine fights Billie Eilish. That fight was kind of annoying to me. That was a disappointing fight. She
did kind of win that round, though.
She did, and you kind of saw that, like, maybe at least, like, the good part here, Sabine finally puts her outfit on, starts wearing her Mandalorian armor, which was good. And then Ahsoka fights Baylan Skoll. She gets her ass handed to her in this scene, which they really imply that this guy's really strong.
Yeah,
which
and
I don't.
But what I don't understand is why the first time she fights him, why she only fights him with a single lightsaber. She is a dual lightsaber wielder. That's her style.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why she didn't use both of them the first time.
Yeah, it was very strange. Pretty strange. But she gets knocked off the cliff. Sabine thinks she's
dead.
Presumed dead. Sabine then I also had a problem with where so she gets the map, she has the map, she's gonna blow it up with her lightsaber, and then Baylan Skoll kind of talks her into like, if you want to find Ezra, give me this and we'll go, knowing that this is going to lead to Thrawn coming back and probably a lot of people dying and a war starting up. I get why she did it. She's like loves him, wants to find him and all that. But you also are kind of disrespecting the sacrifice that he made.
Yeah. And that Ahsoka just made.
Yeah, that they're all making. She just kind of easily was like, you know, I don't really care. You know, this is what we're going to do. And it'll be fine, you know. So that was a little strange. And then he kind of convinces her that, hey, you know, it's going to be all right. Come with us. And I like that he is a man of his word. He's like, don't kill her. I made a promise. I'll keep my promise. And they go zooming off in outer space. And what's her name? Hera and the gang show up, but it's too late. They get blown past them. I do like when they take off like that, like the scar almost it leaves in outer space.
Yeah.
As it looks like a tear. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then we got the big reveal at the end of 4 of when Ahsoka falls in the water and you think she's dead. She kind of wakes up in almost like a world between.
It's the world between worlds.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And Anakin's there. So they found. I was glad that they found another way to give Hayden Christensen some more work. They probably filmed all these, I would imagine, when they brought him back. You know.
I would guess. Because I think they were working on this around the same time they were working on Obi-Wan.
Yeah. And it is a little... They do the de-aging of him and make him younger looking. It's a little off-putting, I think, at times. But for the most part, it's not bad.
Now, I liked the way that they kind of masked that, though, was even though he was there, he didn't look like a Force ghost, but he wasn't completely solid. And I think that was kind of a way to kind of mask the de-aging a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. So that leads into the next one where you have this now Anakin training, retraining Ahsoka. Yeah. And this 5, I thought it really picked up. I liked 5.
Oh, yeah. 5 was great.
I liked the flashback to Clone Wars. I like everything that happened there when they used the little girl to play young Gamora in Infinity War.
Yep.
To play young Ahsoka. I would watch a show if they were doing some Clone Wars flashbacks or, you know, an old Clone Wars movie. And this was good. This was like kind of like which I never really understood. I never really felt like I didn't know where Ahsoka was mentally when you saw her in Mandalorian and all those. She always seemed a little lost to me. Like she was showing up to help Grogu. You know, she was kind of there. And you kind of got that, like she had a little bit of like distance in her eyes. And this one, I think, was good. This was like putting her back on track.
Yeah.
Like, I think and you can understand why. I mean, her master turned on her, you know, and then became Darth Vader. They had a huge fight in in Rebels. Mm-hmm. So I think she was always messed up for that. So I think this was a good kind of like tying a bow on that story.
Yeah.
You know, getting to talk, getting to hang out, getting to see him and learn from him. I think this was a good healing episode for her.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and she kind of came around to where she was. Interesting that, you know, they start looking for her body because is it Jason?
Jason.
He kind of understands that she's out there.
He can hear, because as part of the whole training thing that she was doing with Anakin is they were fighting. And he could hear the lightsaber contact through the Force. because obviously his father, Kanan Jarrus, was a powerful Force user.
Right.
So
yeah, and that part I thought was pretty good. That like they were showing, that he has some abilities. He could be something down the road. She would have been dead though, floating around in that fucking ocean
for what, 2 hours?
I mean, they're looking for her, and I'm like, she's just floating in the water, and then she's under the water. I'm like, how long was she under the water for? Like,
Yeah,
like,
that was a little.
So that was a little much. I'm like, okay, she should be lying on a rock or an island or something, But yeah, they did.
The Force was keeping her alive.
Yeah, the Force is keeping her alive. So then you see the Purrgil from Rebels.
Yep.
Which I thought that was interesting. She kind of communicates with them and decides that she's gonna go after wherever they went. Her and what's the robot's name?
Huang.
Yes, Huang. He was the one that would build lightsabers with all the youngsters and all that.
Yeah, he's like 25,000 years old in the universe.
Yeah, he's really old.
He's been around for basically the entire history of the Force.
Seems to work pretty good though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's very good shape for a quarter 100,000. I don't know what.
He has a good workout plan. But she connects with the Purrgil, and it just kind of like, I don't know, if they're Force sensitive people too, I guess, the Purrgil, right?
Well, all animals, like, because that was one of the things that that was one of his specialties was tapping into animals.
Yeah.
And so so if you're a strong Force user, you can get your intention across and kind of read the intention of the animal you're connecting with.
Yeah. So that's like what she did, kind of gave her attention that like, hey, I need to go find him. I need to chase after them. And they kind of opened their mouths. They flew her ship into it, and then they took off. I saw people online complain that like when they did this and flew, they took them right to the planet where they were. And I'm like, well, maybe she told them like, I need to find him, and they zoomed in on him. I don't really know, but like,
I mean, the whole ring system around the planet was their bone, like their old decaying whales, Purrgils. So I mean, that was kind of like that was where they go to kind of end their life, and
so yeah, it would make sense that the ones that they fought went to that spot. That's their spot, and that's where Thrawn was.
Yeah.
So that's why they all go there. So yeah, I was fine with that part. Hera and them stay behind, which this part kind of bothered me because I felt like they should have went too. I felt like they should have been a part of this. I feel like Hera and her son and Chopper, they should have took the ghost and they should have went inside the mouth with them, and they should have went all together.
Yes, except for now we know that they needed to stay back.
Well, we'll get to that too. We'll get to that at the end. So yeah, they flew off. They stayed behind. Then we episode 6. Then they arrive on that planet.
Yes.
This is where you see Thrawn and his like beat up Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
I like the look of all of the like stormtroopers that he has left at. They have like those red bandanas on. Some of them are like holding their uniforms together. Yeah. They look like a ragtag beat up crew.
Yeah.
I like the dude that was like the head of his head stormtrooper wearing that.
Yeah, I don't understand why his mask was gold though.
I felt like that was something he took from that planet and started wearing as his faceplate.
Maybe.
I don't know why, but he looked cool. But yes, he was cool. I like the intro of Thrawn. A lot of people didn't like how that guy looks because that's like an older guy. They were like, he should have been more in shape. And I'm like, I don't know. He's older general looking dude. He was fine with me. I didn't really care.
It was, yeah. I mean, it doesn't match he didn't really match the novels or the anime. I mean, the anime, he looked like
menacing.
He was very in shape. But I thought for casting a live action actor that was the voice of the I keep saying anime, of the cartoon, I don't think you could have done better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I liked him. I was all right with it. I didn't really care that, like, oh, he's not. I mean, I know he fought in Rebels and battled and all that, but I don't need another guy that he can get people to fight for him.
Well, yeah, he doesn't step in like, that's not his style. His style is to let, he uses his intimidation to a point where his enemies are kind of like, all right, I give up.
Yeah. No, I thought it was good. I liked that they arrived there. I liked that Sabine escapes. She takes off into this messed up planet, and he sends the two orange Jedis after her, the dark Jedi after her. But that guy, Balin, he wants to be on that planet for some reason.
He does.
He feels like there's a calling of something on that planet.
Yes. And I don't know the history behind that. There's some stuff that links back to Legends content from what I remember, but I've never read any of that stuff, so I'm not sure if they go forward with this. It'll be a surprise to me.
So they introduced the Dark Sisters. Now, this is how I understood it, and you correct me if I'm wrong. In Clone Wars, when they reveal the race that Darth Maul is, and where Maul's planet is from, and they introduce his brother, Savage Opress.
Yes.
And that planet, like, the males lived on one side of the planet, and the females were those Night Sister girls.
Yes.
Who one of them becomes, oh God, why can I lose her name now?
Asajj Ventress?
Yeah, Ventress. One of them becomes Ventress. And they introduce the mother, the Dark Mother, and all that. So these Night Sister witches, this is the planet that they come from, right? And they ended up in the Star Wars universe, and they made that their home planet there. But this is where their ancestors come from.
Yeah, this is, and if I may not be correct, but yes. So this was their home planet, the species' home planet. The planet they go to in the Star Wars galaxy, I believe, is Dathomir.
Dathomir?
I don't think that was the planet they went to in Ahsoka. I think that is their. It's not their.
Witches of Dathomir, yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. So this planet they were on, this is where they're originally from?
Yes.
Kind of how I understood it, right?
I believe so.
Okay. And they just do that stuff where they have a lot of, like, magic. They mess around with dark arts, all that stuff, which you saw in Clone Wars.
It's a different form of the Force, from what I understand.
Yeah. And that's what they did in Clone Wars. They kind of, like, made her powerful through all those different things. So Sabine on the run and all this, I was really wondering if this is where we're going to see Ezra. And then they come across these, like, turtle people, which was really strange. And then you find out that Ezra's living there amongst them.
Yep.
Now, the guy that played Ezra was fine. He was very, like, hairy and beard and hair and all that because he's been in there for so long. But this show really let me down with reunions.
Yeah.
Except for, which we'll get to in a minute. But, like, when they find each other, like, I sat there, like, paused in my emotions, like, oh shit, like, they're like, this is gonna be really good. I'm an emotional guy. Like, this is gonna make me emotional. And it was so mid. It was so like, hey, so what are you doing? Oh, you're here. Oh, why are you here? I was like, you're not gonna run to each other and hug and cry and be like, I found you. Like, that was really annoyed me about Sabine and annoyed me about, like, him. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on here. Like,
I don't.
This was very odd the way they decided to do it. Then they cut away from it. Then they're just kind of, like, hanging out. And they're like, well, I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, what have you been up to? Oh, you were training. Oh, I got my lightsaber. I'm like, Then they start to fight, like, the people that were there. And, like, she tries to hand her lightsaber to Ezra. And he's like, I don't need it. You take it. The Force is my weapon. And I'm like, okay, well, the Force is your weapon. And he's, like, using the Force. But then the next episode, he's building a lightsaber. I'm like, well, so you do need a lightsaber.
Well, no, I think it was that he didn't want to take that one because he gave that to her
Yeah,
as a
so
gift.
just say that. Just say, like, that's yours. I'll be okay for right now. He's like, I don't need a lightsaber. The Force is my weapon. Like, no, you clearly do need a lightsaber because you built one in the next fucking episode. But we'll get to that in a minute. So, like, they have that fight and all that, and they beat that one chick, Billie Eilish chick, pretty easily, and all that. Now, when Ahsoka does arrive, her reunion with Ezra, who she's supposed to be the Jedi, where like feelings aren't really something they tap into. Her reunion was great.
Yeah,
because she turned, saw him, embraced him, hugged him, big smile on her face. He's hugging her, happy. I'm like, this is how you fucking greet people, like that you haven't seen in 10 years and you thought were dead, like, you dumbass. So I didn't really understand a lot of that. You know what I mean? That was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But skipped ahead a little bit. On Coruscant, they had the whole. I'm really annoyed in these Mandalorian things shows the way they show the good guys. Like the way the rebellion was and the way they were and how they were all like a unit. Now they have this government and everyone's an asshole. And like,
there's a couple, not everybody, there's a couple assholes.
Yeah.
This,
so like,
this is almost straight out of the Thrawn trilogy, the books.
Is it?
Except instead of Hera and Ahsoka were the ones that disobeyed and like ran off to do stuff. In the Thrawn trilogy, it's Luke and Han.
Oh, okay.
And
so they're in the Thrawn trilogy.
They have a mission that they're, they break somebody out of jail that they're not supposed to, and they leave the planet going after this thing, and they get in a bunch of trouble, and then at the end, Leia comes in, and she's just like, no, I told him they could go.
Yeah. Well, I did like that, how like 3PO came in and
yeah.
And they contacted
him
and figured it out.
They did it that way and didn't try and deepfake her or
do Leia again.
Something it was like that.
Much easier to do 3PO and get the guy to voice them to do it.
Yeah.
That was a lot better. So, yeah, that was cool. But yeah, it was just kind of like, the government sucks, but there is a threat, blah, 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 blah. The Purgles, when we forgot to talk about when they arrived, they get like through a minefield and all that.
And how the hell did Thrawn get all that shit set up?
Yeah, I don't. That was stupid. Like, where'd he get? What'd he have? They just flew out and put mines out.
Were they just happened to be on that Star Destroyer when they made their jump with the Purgles the first time, and like I don't know. Yeah, how
did their Star Destroyer not fly into that minefield too when they landed in the big Halo ship, or they shut the mines off?
Well, no, I guess maybe they didn't get. Oh no, because that thing was down on the surface, wasn't it?
Yeah, flew right past that.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was like a convenience thing because like the Purgles have to leave.
Yeah.
If the Purgles all stay there, then like they have an easy way home. So we got to get the Purgles out of here. So they hit mines and they all take off, pissed off and scared, and they all leave. So it was like, okay, whatever. This is what we're doing, I guess. Once they beat that one girl, Hati, they invite her to join up with them, but she runs away.
Yeah, she leaves.
This isn't where. When does Ahsoka fight? What's his name? One more time. Is that towards the end? Oh, that was in this one. Yeah, she runs into Baylan again, and they have that fight.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I clearly can't beat you, but like she distracts him or whatever, all that stuff. And he goes off on his own kind of mission to find whatever he's looking for. All of a sudden he was like walking through like Mordor and stuff, like it looked like, with everything that was going on there. Really weird. A lot of weird animals, big statues, stuff like that. I thought it was really cheesy when they were getting down to the end here of when the Dark Sisters for that chick, they were like, we're going to use our dark magic to make this anti-lightsaber sword. I was like, oh, okay. Let me guess, you have a sword that like lightsabers can't hurt. Like, what was the
That's
need of that sword? It was
that
so
sword was in either because somebody compared it to the cartoon version. That was in either I think it was in Clone Wars, but we've seen that sword before.
who had it in Clone Wars?
The Night Sisters.
Did they?
Yeah.
All right. So then let's talk about, this is another part that I thought they should have done something on. I hated the way Ezra looked. Like the gypsy clothing and all that stuff and everything, like it was really weird looking. I understand he was on that planet for all those years. So when they got on Ahsoka's ship and he started building his lightsaber, I really thought they should have been like, oh, do you mind if I go in and get cleaned up?
Yeah,
like,
take a shower. I probably haven't showered since
in 10 years or whatever. So I really wish he would have went in there, shaved his beard, cut his hair, kind of had the droid do it or whatever they do, come out with some kind of like battle armor on, looked a little bit more like Ezra instead of his like gypsy clothing that he's running around in, still going with that outfit because he had time to build himself a lightsaber, which was cool looking, his new one.
Yeah, I liked it.
Then we had the big attack on Thrawn. What do you think about the zombie stormtroopers?
That's a comic book. I think they did that in the comics, so it's been done before. Whatever. They're fine.
Yeah,
it's even more cannon fodder than like regular stormtroopers because now
beat them up 100 times.
Like, I think in the 80s, PG movies didn't care if you just killed people, but like people didn't think they were like real. I swear. Yeah. I think they thought they were like robots. And then like you find out later on that, oh wait, no, there are people in those armors.
Yeah.
And so like you can't just kill them with no mercy. So I think making them zombies was a little a way to make them easier to mow down.
Yeah, and fight him over and over and over. Ahsoka then fights what's her nuts again? I always keep forgetting her stupid name. Morgan Elizabeth,
who has now been like transformed somehow by the Night Sisters.
Yeah, she's like a monster now.
The Dark Mothers or whatever they are.
They have a sword fight. She breaks one of Ahsoka's lightsabers until Ahsoka finally gets her. This battle part was okay, like the storming of the
choreography. I thought the choreography of the fight was really good, though.
Yeah, that lady, I read a thing on her that she's actually martial arts trained, so she looked pretty good. I thought all the sword play was good. I thought like Anakin's sword stuff that he was doing, Hayden looked good, swinging it around, all that worked well. I didn't like this end though. I understand, Sabine and Ezra are trying to get on the Star Destroyer. Ahsoka's all alone. She's going to get killed, so Sabine jumps down to help her. Because she was like, the whole thing is Sabine keeps struggling to use this lightsaber. She uses it every once in a while, then she switches back to guns.
Yeah.
So she finally goes into it, starts using it. They fight side by side. They beat everybody. I didn't like that they split them up again. I don't really understand what the point of that was. Like, I understand it was a rescue mission to get Ezra. But now all we did was switch. So Ezra ends up back in the universe. Now Sabine and Ahsoka are stuck here, and they gotta find their way back.
Baylan and
Hati.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, what? And then obviously you see Baylan finds like a big castle that he arrives in, and then here we go again. So somehow Ezra escapes on a shuttle.
Yeah, they never show how Ezra escapes.
Never showed you escape. He's just on a shuttle. They lead it into the place, and again, Chopper is better with fucking reunions than Hera and everybody else. So Chopper rolls over, instantly knows who it is. Somehow, I don't know. I mean, he has like sixth sense or whatever.
Scans or something.
So he goes over and kind of gives him a thing, and he pats him. Then he takes his mask off, and Hera kind of looks and smiles.
I thought that was good.
It's good, but you need to see these characters embrace. Like, if you watched Rebels, you love these characters together. They were family. Like, and you waited all this time, over 10 years, to see these reunions, and they're like, well, we're not really going to show you. Because they didn't bother showing you. Once they go back in season 2 or whatever, they'll be just there. It'll be Ezra and Hera and Chopper together.
Yeah.
And they skip that. And then he starts to walk towards her, and they go away from it. I'm like, what does this show have against reunions? You wanted to see you wanted to see these two characters tear up, run towards each other and hug and be like, you're alive, you're okay, oh my God, like, look at you,
Yeah.
And what happened? Where are they? Oh, I got to tell you, they're stuck in there. Well, we got to find them. We got to give you something instead of just stare at each other. And they're like, Ezra. And then just like, cut, we break. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So that was really annoyed me at the end of this show, that these piss poor reunions were really bad.
That one didn't bug me. I will agree with the switching of Sabine and Ahsoka's reunions with him. The one at the end didn't bother me. Obviously they're gonna try and do a season 2.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you can. There's just too much left open. If maybe one or two of the other things have been closed, like storylines have been closed, like Sabine and Ahsoka got home with him, then I could see it going straight into a movie to close it out.
Right. And that's what I think bothered me. Like I said, I was liking it a lot more. I went peaks and valleys with this. I was annoyed by it in the beginning, then I got really into it, liked it. All the Anakin stuff, the finding Ezra and all that. Then at the end, I was just kind of like, all right, I kind of thought the end of this we were going to get, well, Thrawn's in our universe. Again, he's in our galaxy. They're somewhere gathering an army. The rebels are reunited. They're all together. They're with, and then they prove, hey, he's here, and they're getting ready for something. That way, you really don't need to do a season 2 of it. I don't think you need a season 2 of it. Well, now you do, just to get her off that planet. But you would have been primed, now we're ready for 3 movies about fighting Thrawn with this whole crew.
I think Lucasfilm and Disney are terrified to try and make another movie, and I think they just keep going to Filoni and be like, we're not ready yet. Let's do another season of the show first.
Yeah, I think they're going to wear people out on it. I don't know what you're going to do for a whole nother season. I mean, if it's 2 episodes of them stuck on the stupid planet fighting Balin again and these people, I really don't care. I don't know what Balin's going to do, but I really don't care about those 2 characters that much.
I think what they're trying, or what they were, it'll be interesting to see what they do. They're going to have to recast him.
Obviously, I heard there were some rumors of that, of what they were going to do.
But his storyline could be leading into that movie that they want to do that was before the Knights of the Old Republic. Because remember how they talked about doing a movie from ancient Jedi times, even from before the Jedi Order actually existed. I think his storyline would lead into that. Because what he's going after, at least the rumors online, is literally the origins of the Force.
Okay.
And so again, if it had been, if Ray Stevenson hadn't passed away, so now they're going to have to recast. But I think that's where that could lead, so they could use this series to set up at least 2 movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I was kind of like. I don't know. I just don't care about those Dark Jedi people. I'd be ready now again if we assembled the rebels back together, got even what's his name back with them, purple dude, Zeb back with them, and I would have been much better if this show ended with they walk off the ship and they arrive back and there's Zeb and Hera together, and they all reunite, and then we're ready to go for some movies here. And see, you think you're afraid to make those movies? I think you need to hit on those before people lose interest in these series. Yeah. You put Mando and Boba Fett and all these people and the Rebels into movies, I think it'll do well.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't even watched the last season of Mando yet. Was Zeb in that? Did he make a quick cameo appearance in that?
They never said if it was him or not. They introduced a big purple guy like his race, and he was sitting at a bar.
Okay, but they never called him Zeb?
They never called him Zeb. They just had a guy that looked like him. So you don't know if it's really Zeb,
okay,
or if it was just someone that looked like him. But they never said anything more on it. which was kind of stupid,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think if they want to lead into a movie, which they want to do,
yeah,
they've roped themselves into a season 2 now.
yeah, they do. They got to do a season 2 now, which maybe they were already planning on doing it, but you got to do something now because you got to get her off that stupid planet.
Yeah.
And you got to figure out what she's gonna do with those two that are there and do something there and all that. But I don't know. I was kind of ready for like that to be done. Like,
I was waiting for the announcement. Like, I was hoping for maybe even like a teaser or something, like at the end of the season for like, I was hoping for like a teaser for what they're doing for the movie. Like maybe they filmed something that they could give us a little hint about what the movie was. But
I like that they flew back down to the planet and they're flying along the planet looking for the turtle race. But for some reason, Hera and Ahsoka got to get out and go in those stupid dog donkey things while the droid flew the ship above them. I'm like, why are you even out riding those horses looking for the people? Just fly by the fucking planet and go find it. Like, there's a lot of things they did were kind of silly like that towards the end,
Yeah.
But all in all, it was a good show. I like the way they portrayed these people. I just thought they could have. I don't understand it. I feel like they missed at the end of this show. I feel like they missed the heart of Rebels, where they were doing that and pushing towards that with like the way these characters want to get back together. They want to find him. They want to do that. She wanted to find him so bad that she sacrificed an entire galaxy of like war for him, and then got there and act like she just didn't care, which made me. We were talking earlier in the show about, is that her brother or is that her boyfriend?
Yeah.
That seemed like boyfriendish, like, oh, there he is, but I don't want to be too like I'm into him. I don't want to give him the wrong direction,
Yeah.
Instead of just like, there's my guy, there's my family, they're family, Instead, she's just kind of like, hey,
yeah, just trying to play it coy, just
trying to play it cool and coy. And I'm like, come on, like, I want to see some people reunite. You want to see some people run. We talk all the time about like when we do talking anime with Luffy and One Piece. Like, you love those reunions when they finally get back together and the excitement that they have and all that. Like, where is that in this show other than Ahsoka?
Yeah, yeah. Star Wars could learn a lot from One Piece.
Yeah, it could.
A lot of shows could learn a lot from One Piece.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it. Yeah. That was
overall, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction, that's for sure, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully they work their shit out and we can get something going forward with it. Because I want to see the Rebels reunited. I enjoyed seeing the Ghost in live action. I want more of that. I think that would be really good.
Yeah.
And the last thing is, how many times can Ahsoka's ship get blown to shit and still work? It gets hit all the time. It's like a mess, and it's like, oh, there it is again.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there you go. Good show. Fix a few things, move on, and we'll see what happens in the rest of this crazy Star Wars universe going forward. All right. Anything else?
That's it for me.
All right, everybody. Like, share, subscribe, all that other shit. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later.
Later.